Hello, families. What an awesome first day of Challenge A we had. Thank you all. You have been such a help. Well, my whole life. Okay, but just to narrow it down to this year, it was all hands on deck this morning, setting up the room, and then we all worshiped the Lord together. And after you left, the students and I prayed, and they read the first 2 chapters of James. And then we got started. I'm going to go over this work while it's fresh in my brain and in your students' brains too. So if you could just go over this with them tonight, Wednesday night, or tomorrow, Thursday morning. This should set the course of the week. Now I took this planner from the back of the guide, and I wrote Community Day here on Wednesday, and I passed out one of these to everyone. And as we went through each strand, we talked about, okay, so let's look in the guide and see what the guide says to do at home, and let's break that down to what needs to be done on Thursday, what needs to be done on Friday. Are we going to do anything on the weekend? What needs to be done on Monday? And we surely don't want to save a bunch of stuff to load up on Tuesday, right, to come to class again on Wednesday. So by the end of the day, we'd gone over this, we'd looked at this page at least 6 times, one for each strand. And my kids are going to break down while I'm trying to talk. Okay, so for math, they know pretty much just their normal math schedule, do a math lesson a day, right? And for Latin, they know what they're going to do in the morning, or tomorrow, and then on Friday, and on Monday, and Tuesday. And they know where to find this information. They know where to find it in the weekly portion of the guide. So we did a lot of moving around back and forth between the books, so they know that there's going to be a lot of that, and they should know where to find things. And this is week 1, and week 1 is over. And I've already torn that. Can you believe it? Okay, we're now on week 2. And your student knows, for math, they're supposed to complete their lessons and bring 2 problems. And this is what we'll do in class next week. And for the grammar, this gets tricky because there's a lot of parts to it. Look up things in the blue grammar book. Look up things, read pages in the purple Latin book. Blah, 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 right? This is all broken down in Workspace A. If Workspace A doesn't list every assignment exactly as it is here, always go to the guide. But use the Workspace A as your place to write your charts. It's just, it's got your paper laid out for you. But there will be extra things here, like memorize the assignment from grammar. I'm not sure the Workspace A is going to tell you to memorize rules 9 through 14, 25, 32, like that. Okay, but here is where the at-home is, and your student knows what to do. Research. We went over that. They're supposed to research astronomy using at least 2 sources. Record their observations, notes, and outlines in the Nature Sketch Journal, along with a hand-drawn sketch or picture of what they researched. Write a bibliography. So you, parent, teacher, can decide the format for their bibliography, and maybe print that out or copy it, or have them write it in the front of their journal as a reference of how to write a bibliography, and then practice the presentation. And we went over all that in class. Zoe demonstrated for us how to do a fused outline, and then Cash did an impromptu presentation based on the keyword outline that we made in class. For rhetoric, we started out with rhetoric. They're going to read chapter 1. I don't know if this is doing any good at all for me to hold this camera here, but anyway. They read chapter 1, and we demonstrated it in class. They read a section, and then they summarize it, and just write that down on the form, and memorize catechism questions 1 through 3, which is in the rhetoric appendix. And that's also that, last minute email I sent out, like, print these and stick them in the binder. That's what that is. Exposition. We we did The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We created an Annie chart in class. And the point, everyone, the point I need to communicate to the teachers is, you know, to let the students have ownership, right? And they're going to come up with crazy, silly 12-year-old ideas, but to let them go with that and don't go, no, why don't you do something like a more important figure? But in class, they chose, should Aslan have helped save Narnia? So, like, that's the point of the whole book, but, well, sure, we'll do it. Okay, but it ended up, it was a rather difficult thing to do, to argue for or against. But anyway, when I asked them, do you want to use this as your issue for your paper, nobody wanted to use it. So they will, starting tomorrow, compose their own issue and then create an Annie chart. Now, coming up in the weeks ahead, the next book is Carry On, Mr. Bowditch, so you might want to be reading that, get a start on reading or listening to that. And cartography. Cartography seems really simple, but there's kind of a lot to it, like the Latin. Not really, but okay. But there's a lot of steps here. Memorized map of Canada for week 3. Draw and label the provinces, territories, and capitals of Canada daily. See the appendix for drawing instructions. And that's page 186. And I'm just going to flip there for a minute. 186. This appendix has a lot of information in it. On page 186, here's your supplies. Yeah, and weekly work. Continent map to scale work. Locate the regional map with the continents drawn to scale in the cartography book. This is the model to copy each week. Using a blank grid map or a student parent created grid map, practice placing and drawing the continents in correct proportion on the map. Creating one's own grid map with longitude and latitude markings from the model, option B above, is a classical approach to cartography. In class, we did not draw on grids. We just practiced drawing Canada. So if you want to do, get the paper out and have them draw the grid and then do the continents, then you need to know that we did not do that in class and show them how to do that. 2. Locating and drawing weekly locations. Refer to the weekly assignments to determine the list of locations for that week. Note that some continents are divided into sections and assigned for several weeks. Geographical features may be assigned on a separate week or sprinkled throughout the weeks to label and memorize. The list of features provided is a starting point. Features may be deleted or added if desired by the parent. And the continent focus for the week. Draw the outline. Locate and label. Locate, mark, and label capitals and features. Well, I won't read this whole thing to you. Greenland, it notes in the guide, is an administrative division of a country. So this says label, locate and label, administrative divisions of a country. So locate and label. Yes, so I interpreted that to mean draw Greenland this week. And cumulative maps, how frequently you want to do that. And geographical terms. Let's just look on the next page, page 187. This is an overview of the year. So for week 1, we're going to be studying North America, Canadian provinces, territories, and capitals. And here are our terms: altitude, archipelago, arm, atoll, bank, basin. Sorry if this phone, oh, look at that. 10 minutes in and I hit it to focus. It's a lot better. Okay, so they can write this like on notebook paper, so they can put it in a binder, or if you have a spiral notebook, or however you want to do your geography dictionary. These are the terms. They need to write that and define it, and also include an example of it. The example shown in the guide was bay. Bay is an arm of the sea extending into the land, smaller than a gulf and larger than a creek. For example, Hudson Bay or Chesapeake Bay. So just a definition for each of those, and then keep them in their dictionary. And thankfully, look, these terms are given in alphabetical order. Alrighty, so that helps. Now, is that all we're supposed to do for geography? Let's come back, cartography, excuse me. Come back to here. Man, do I need to record this whole thing again and get better focus on the words? I don't think so, because you have your guide, and really I'm just talking this out, because this would take forever to type, right? Forever to read. Although I will put some stuff in the email, I'm sure, that I realize later that I left out of this. So please be sure to read that. And bring your best hand-drawn map to seminar. And that was the day, and that's all I can think of. We had a lot of fun reading the autobiographies. How did class go? Everyone participated really well. There was a good mix of some, okay, we have no problem in participation on this side of the room. You guys are doing great. You can just back off a little bit, and then let's try and pull it up out of the other side in the room. But I think that happened pretty good. And, you know, there were times where, okay, it got a little chaotic. Everybody's just talking and laughing and having fun. But, you know, part of this is the relationships. And my goodness, we're in there for 6 hours. So we did have a few, you know, laughs and crazy off the map thing. I had to ring the bell twice, at least twice. But I think it's pretty good, because I'm watching, you know, I want everyone to be assimilated, if you know what I mean. I think it was good. And that's it. Yes, I either need to fall asleep or go make dinner or do something. Thank you, everybody, for your help. Let me know if you have any questions. I might have to send it out, you know, one at a time in emails like I do as it comes to me, because I'm not really good at accumulating everything and sending it out at once, as you've noticed. Okay, thanks.